Hey, thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on this adorable Stampin' Bella image called Hayley the Hero. Isn't she cute? Love her. I will put a link down in the description box of the card kit and all the supplies I used. I would love for you to come shopping with me. So I have already stamped my image on Neenah 80-pound Solarite cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And first, before we start, I'm going to show you, you're going to get a piece of paper this size so you can stamp your girl. But she's going to fit like on the card in this little frame. So I went ahead and colored her, and then I took my frame piece and I stuck it where I wanted onto my little girl here. And then I took my pencil and I just gave it a couple of little marks on the inside of my frame, like this. And then I went ahead and trimmed it and attached the frame to my girl, if that makes sense. So let's color. Alright, so we're going to start out by outlining our image with C00. And I'm just going to go ahead and, I know my frame's going to go down, it's going to stop before I get to the bottom of this, of her cape. So I'm just going to start right there, just so I know I went farther than the frame is going to go. And I'm just going to do a quick outline. I'm going to fill in here in between her arm. Go up here and do her hair. Go all around her cute little buns. And we're going to work our way back down over here and get in between her neck. And then again, I know my frame is going to stop before I get to the bottom of her cape, so I'm just going to stop right there. And then I know that there's none, my frame's going to cover up all this down here, so I'm not going to worry about that either. For her skin, let's use E21, E00, and E000, and I'm going to start here on her arm with my E21. I'm going to do a little bit right next to her outfit, and then I'm going to go up on her sleeve, or on her arm there on the top, and then I'm going to come down and connect that. And I'm going to do a little bit, a little swoop in here where her elbow is. And then again, I'm going to go up here on this side, and we're going to do underneath of her cape. And then we're going to do a skinny line along the bottom of her arm. And then we're going to do the bottom of this arm. Whoops, that wasn't very skinny. And right along that side. And then I'm going to grab E00. And I want to just start by brushing my pen on top of my E21 and pulling out here into my white area. Same with this side. And it's pretty small, so I'm kind of just dabbing it on there. And then I'm going to fill it in with my E000. And I tend to use my lightest color just to go over the entire area. And then if you wanted to darken her arms up, you could go over it a second time. I'm going to go up here and do her neck next. So again, I'm going to start with my E21. And let's do a little dab underneath of her chin. And then I'm going to go down her neck. And I'm going to do her shoulders. And over here, let's give her a little bit of shadow on this side. And then for her face, she's got a little ear over here showing. So I'm going to do a little bit next to her hair. And then I want to go underneath of her glasses, or her mask. And then let's go a little bit like this over on her chin. And then up here, where her hair is, let's give it a little bit of shadow. And I'm not worried that I went where her hair is at. We're just going to add a little bit of color in there. And up here, like that. And then I'm going to grab E00 next. And I'm going to brush a little bit down here on her neck. And then we want to do a little bit up here, your ear. And again, we want to brush along this line down here. And then for her glasses, I'm going to start by filling in this half of her eye. Like that. And then I'm going to fill the rest in with my E000. And inside of her glasses. And again, if you wanted her skin to be darker, you would go over it a second time. But I'm liking it like that, so I'm going to leave her just like so. For her hair, let's use E19, 17, 15, and 13. I'm going to start with my E19 first. And let's go up here and add a little bit of color to each of these little swirls she's got in her buns up here on top of her head. So she's got some lines there, so I'm just going to use those lines that the artist put there and just swirl over the top. Same for this side. Like that. And then for her hair down here, she's got a little piece that runs down beside her glasses. So I'm going to do just the tip of my pen to fill that in. And how about this little cute piece over here? And then she's got a little piece that's flicking out on the side. Okay, and then I want to add I want to give her a part. So I'm going to say her part is right here between these two that's missing a little section. I'm just going to go right with that and then pull some of that color out this way. And then I also want to give the bottom of her hair a little bit of flicks. So let's go like this. And over here a little bit. And right here, even though there's no hair there, I'm going to add a couple little flicks in there to add some in. Next I'm going to go with my E17. And same thing, I want to do some flicks up here away from her part. And I want to add some color up here into her little buns. And I'm just kind of going in a half circle in there and filling in some space. And then we want to add a little bit to the bottom of her hair. And over here. And let's do this little section right here. It's got a little piece that's poking out. Next I'm going to go with E15, and again I'm just going to add some more color. So let's do a few little skinny streaks in here. And then over here let's add some. And then dab a little bit, if you got some room up here in these cute little curly cues. Then I'm going to take my E13 and I'm going to fill it in. Let's just go up here, and you can leave some white in there too if you like that. I can just never get mine to look right. I think it looks ridiculous. Every once in a while it'll be okay, but mostly it's like, oh, that's terrible. And just do a little bit up here on these cute little curly cues. And dab down here. Maybe get these cute little pieces that are sticking out. And then I'm going to go back again with my E19 and just add a couple of little dark streaks. And I think I'll add the little dark down here on this one over here. For her top, let's use YR14, Y38, Y35, and Y11. I'm going to go ahead and start with my YR14. And let's go, she's got a little tie right here, so I'm going to go, and she's also got right on the top of her shirt, she's got a little bit of a ruffle. So I'm going to leave that and make that red. But let's go right along that ruffle. And color in some of this. Let's go around her hand. And she's got a little flower down here, so we're going to go around that. And along her belt. And then there's a couple of little streaks right here on her outfit, like right here. So I'm going to exaggerate those. And here's one. And then again, I want to go across to where her ribbon is over here, and there's a little streak right here. And then let's go right around this bow. And I just am barely using the tip of my pen because I don't want it to be too wide. There's not much shirt there. And then I'm going to go with my Y38, and I want to just softly touch down on top of my YR14 and pull this color into my white just a little bit more. I got a little bit of orange there on my flower, but that's going to be okay because we're going to make that, oh, I guess it's going to be white, so I'll take my colorless blender and I'll erase that here in just a bit. Next, let's add a little bit of our Y35. And then I'll take my Y11 to fill the rest of this in. And I think I want to darken it up just a little bit more. So I'm going to go back again with the second coat of all my colors. So this is YR14. And I got a little bit on my bow there, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to paint it red. I'll be a little bit more careful down here by my flower. And bring this up. Then we'll add a second coat of our Y35 or 38. And then Y35. And then I'm going to take my Y11 and just swoosh over the top of the entire thing. For her pants, let's use W10, 8, 6, 4, and 0. And I'm going to start with my W10. And let's go with our W10 right along the bottom here. And W10's really dark, so be careful just adding a little bit along our belt. And then I'm going to come back and connect it to the other side. And I'm trying not to color outside the line. You'll never erase this. And then we're going to go down the side of that ruffle because we're going to make that dark red. But I want to pull in a little bit. So now that I've got my little line here, I'm going to flick off of that. Same for this side. That way I don't have to worry about accidentally coloring outside the line because I've got a little bit of space there that I can touch down on. Next I'm going to go with W8. And I'm going to add a little bit of that. W6. A little bit of a line there, so I'm going to go back a second time. And then W4 to fill it in. And again, I got a little bit of line, so I'm going to go back over it a second time. And then just to lighten it up a little bit, I took my W0 pen and just kind of swooshed across this middle part and kind of pushed it around. That. And then down here for her socks, I've got some stripes. So for that, we're going to use, for the black stripes, we're going to use W10, 8, 6, and 4. So let's go ahead and start with our W10. And I'm going to start by making this top stripe my first black one. And then I'm going to skip one. I'm going to do the next one. And again, skip one. And skip one. And again, I know that my frame is going to cover all this up, so I'm not going to color down there. Next, let's do this side. So again, I'm going to do this top one black or white, and I'm going to go down to the next one, and the next one, and skip one and do the next one, and then again after this, that's going to be covered up unless you decide to do something different with your girl. Next, we're going to add W8, and just a little dab on there. I'm trying to keep it pretty skinny because there's not much space there. And then we'll do the same thing over here. And then next is W6. I'm going to fill this top one in because it's underneath the ruffle there. Just a little bit more. And then we'll do this side. And then we're going to fill it in with our W4. And I'm being careful, I don't want to go outside the line. So I'm trying not to color over on the other side. This side, like that. Alright, so the alternate stripe, we're going to use W1, 0 in our colorless blender, and I'm going to start with W1, and I'm just going to give a little tap of that here on the edge of each of these alternate stripes. And again, I'm not going to color those because they are going to be below my frame. And over here. And next we'll add W0. And this side. And then our colorless blender, I'm just going to dab it here on the edges and kind of pull it back towards my W0. Next, let's do her cape. For that, we're going to use R27, 17, 8, 5, and 14. And then for the little ruffles, we're going to use R89. So let's start with our R27, and I'm going to start up here at the top of her cape. And let's do a little dab on our little bows. And they're pretty skinny, so I'm just doing a little line. And then for her cape up here, let's do, this part kind of folds over. So I did underneath. And then she's got a couple little lines here that I want to exaggerate. So I did that. And then same for this side, she's got it underneath over here. And then we're going to come back down here to this cute little bow. And she's got a little line right there, so I'm going to bring this out just a little bit and give that a little bit of a wrinkle. Next I want to add R17. So again, we're going to add a little dab of that in here on our bow. And the bow's pretty small, so when I run out of space, I'm not going to add any more reds. I'm going to bring this out, that, and turn her a little bit here. And we'll bring this out. And then I'm going to add R08. I'm going to go ahead and fill in that bow, and then we're going to bring this up a little bit. And then I'm going to finish off this top of the cape with my R05. And I'm being careful not to go outside of the lines, and I'm just going to bring this down here even with this little fold. Okay, then we want to go ahead and do R27 again, so I'm going to start over here on this side. Let's do underneath of her arm, that. There's a little wrinkle right here, so I'm going to do that. And we're going to bring this down even with her arm on here. And then let's do underneath here, and there's a little wrinkle, so I'm going to do that. And then we're going to go around these cute little ruffles. And then down here to the bottom of her cape. Then I'm going to add R17, and again, when you run out of space, you will no longer add any more colors. Just add a little bit of that. I'm going to fill in this down here, because I know I'm not going to go, my frame's going to cover that up, so I'm not worried about it being all the way colored in. Next we'll do R08. And I'm going to fill in this top part. And then R05. And we'll fill that the rest of the way in there. Like so. Then let's go over here and we're going to do, let's do this bottom section here. So I'm going to start with my R27. And let's go, just do our outlining first. So let's go right next to her pant leg and then along the bottom of this ruffle. And don't worry if you get it on the ruffle because the frame was going to cover that up. At least mine did. That's where I positioned it so it would cover all that up. And then go down this side and back around. And if you get some red on your ruffle, that's not going to matter either because we're going to make that R89 and that's pretty dark. Okay, but I want to give this some wrinkles in here. So right here, I'm going to come down a wrinkle. Yeah, let's give it a little wrinkle right here. And maybe another one right here. And then down here, I gave each of these little bumps a little bit of a wrinkle down here. Even though most of that's going to be covered up. Like that. And then I'm going to add R17. So I just want to go right along the edge of each of these lines. And add a little bit more color. Not too much. And then we'll add R08. And again, you want to add it right along the edge of your previous color. And I'm going to fill this section in because there's not enough room over there for me anymore. And then R05. And then my R14, I'm going to swoosh over the entire thing. That. And let's move over here to this side. So again, I'm going to start with my R27, and let's do in between her arm. So I'm going to do right in here. I probably should have done this side first because now my hand's going to lay in all this red. And me and red, I don't know what it is, but it seems like it's supposed to dry instantly, but it seems like I'm always picking it up on my hand somehow. Okay, and then she's got a couple of little spaces in here that's already got lines, so I'm going to go ahead and color those. And then I'm going to add R17. So we want to add just a little bit along the edge of each of those lines. And then R08. And I'm going to go ahead and just fill this section in. And then let's go ahead and start with R27 again. And I'm going to do this little section up here on the outside of her cape. So let's go right along her arm. And there's a little wrinkle right here. And then for the cape that's on the outside over here, let's go ahead and bring that like this. And then I'm going to add R17. And then R08. Forgot what color I was on. And then R05 to fill this section in. And I got just a little spot up here, so I'm going to dab, just a little dab in there. Just a teeny tiny bit. Okay, that leaves us with this cute section right here. So again, I'm going to grab my R27 and let's give it some shadow. So let's go underneath of her arm. Trying to be careful not to color her hand. Right around here, around these ruffles, and back down her sock. All right, then, so some of this is going to be covered up, but let's go ahead and bring this up like this. And then here's a wrinkle, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. And then here's a wrinkle, so let's exaggerate that wrinkle. I'm going to go ahead and color down here too, since I don't know where my frame is. I know it's going to cover this section up, but over here it's not. So let's go ahead and go right along this ruffle. Color that. And this one. So. Okay, then we've got our little wrinkle right here. And here's one. And then right here is a great little spot for us to put a wrinkle. So let's do that. Like so. And then let's make this have a little space of a wrinkle. And right here it looks like it's kind of dipping too, so let's do a little bit right there. I think that looks pretty good. Then let's add R17. So again, you want to go right next to the edge of your last color. Bring it up, make some of these little points a little bit longer. And come around over here and down that side. Next we'll add R08. Softening each of those sides. Connect some of those. R05. And then I'm going to take my R14 and go over the entire area. Okay, then I went back with my R27 and I added in all these great shadow lines that were already here. This gave it a second coat. Okay, over here we've got a little bit. Oops. Colored a little bit of my ruffle there. That's okay because we're going to make that dark red, so it won't really matter. Okay, so that had a little bit more of our shadows in. So now I'm going to take my R89 and fill in these little ruffles. So she's got a little bit of a ruffle up here on her top. And it's pretty dinky, so you want to use just the tippy tip of your pen. That. And then we're going to do the ruffle on her cape. And you can make this a totally different color if you wanted. You can make it to match her shirt if you wanted it to be a little bit brighter ruffle. Well, then you're going to have to be really careful that you don't color on it when you're doing your red, because that yellow will not cover that up. They'll cover it up to an extent, but not all the way. Okay, and all this is going to be not going to be able to be seen with our frame. I forgot what it's called there. Let's cover this ruffle. And then this cute little ruffle on this side. Let's hop up here and do our glasses. So for that, we're going to use the reds again. So our 27, 17, 8, 5, and 14. And I'm going to start with my R27. And let's do, she's got a little line right here, so I'm going to do this little line. And then here's a line on her nose. And then over here, let's do the outside. That. And then we're going to have R08 next. And we just want to add a little bit. And again, I'm trying not to color her face. And then R05. R14. And let's go back with our R27 and just darken a little bit of this up. And then on her eyes, I added some glossy accents for the glasses part. So let's hop down here and do her belt next. So for that, we're going to use, for the belt and the flower center, we're going to use our 89, 27, 17, and 8. So I'm going to start with my R89 on her belt. And let's do a little dab. And then I'm going to exaggerate it with a little line there. Over here I'm going to be careful, don't color your flower. And then I'm going to go with R27. And I want to go right over the top of that R29 or R89 because it's kind of a purple color, so I'm going to add some red on there. But I want to go past my line so it's going out here a little bit. R17. And then what's next? R08. Alright, so again, we're going to use the same colors for our flower. So let's do R89. I'm going to do a little C there on that side. And then we'll go with R27. And again, I'm going to cover right over the top of that R89. Bring it out a little bit. And then R17. And then I want to fill it in with R08. And then last but not least, we have the little flower there that I'm going to add some C1 just to the center part of each of these, right next to the red. Try not to touch the red, that would make a big mess. But I'm just going to use my C1 right next to the red, and then I'm going to flick up a little bit on each of the lines that are there already. So around your center, and then flick just a little bit. I want to leave it white out at the ends. You can always, too, if you put too much, go with your colorless blender and take some off. So there is our beautiful Hayley the Hero all colored up. And again, here is the finished card. So she is mounted to this little frame and then popped up on some pop dots along with this little arrow. She's also popped up. And then for my sentiment here, I used some Ranger's Black Detail embossing powder and my Versamark? My Versamark pad, and I embossed this cute little saying. It also looks great plain, but I liked it all bumped up. Then I did some Spica glitter pen in her hair to add some sparkles, of course. I don't know if you can see that or not. Some glossy accents to the center of her eyeglasses, and then to the center of the flower, and all this red in her cape. I did my Wink of Stella brush pen in clear, and I did 3 or 4 coats, so it's very, very sparkly. I don't know if you can see that. I guess I can see a little bit on there, but it's got a lot of sparkles on there. And also be careful with that thing. I don't know what it is with that thing, but I'm constantly, like right here on her cape, it made this big blob, and it just like out here onto her sleeve. Well, of course, it's already colored, and I added the brush after I'd already put the whole card together, and I was like, oh no. So I tried to brush it off as best I could, but there's still a little spot there that I can see. So be careful with that pen. I didn't even squeeze it. It just went everywhere. But it is very sparkly and dries super, super fast. So I hope you had fun coloring with me today. If you have a question, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you had fun, and I will see you next time. Bye!